Dobar dan i dobrodošli na drugu online radionicu Regionalnog challenge fonda. Za one koji su danas prvi put sa nama, kao što kažu televizijski radiovoditelji, Regionalni challenge fond nastaje na inicijativu Nemačkog saveznog ministarstva za ekonomsku saradnju i razvoj, koje je opredelilo značajna sredstva za čitav region Zapadnog Balkana i delegiralo ih je Nemačkoj razvojnoj banci, koja kao glavnog partnera na ovom projektu ima Komorski investicioni forum, čije je članica i Vanjsko-trgovinska komora BiH. Mi smo Pavel i ja i naš kolega Frieder, koji će nam se uskoro pridružiti, mi smo članovi jedinice za upravljanje fondom, tim konsultanata koji pomaže Komorskom investicionom forumu u svakodnevnom upravljanju ovim programom Regionalnim challenge fond. Današnji webinar je namenjen svima vama koji ste već negde odmakli u pripremi aplikacija, koji ste se izborili sa pronalaženjem referentnog broja i uspešno prijavili za učešće i dobili link i ja vam na tome čestitam, dobro nam došli. Nadam se da će vam naše današnje druženje biti korisno, da ćete dobiti konkretne informacije o tome kako da popunite aplikacioni formular koji je dostupan na našem online grant management sistemu. Pre nego što nastavimo sa programom, ja ću dati reč koleginici iz tehničke podrške da nas podsjeti na par nekih korisnih saveta koje treba da imamo u vidu kako bi nam današnji webinar bio što prijatnije iskustvo. Izvolite.
Hvala Jelena. Dobar dan i dobrodošli na drugi tutorial i sesiju za pitanja i odgovore Regionalnog challenge fonda u Bosni i Hercegovini. Prije početka webinara kratko ćemo se osvrnuti na tehničke tačke. Dragi učesnici, na današnjem webinaru dostupan je simultani prevod na lokalni jezik. Kako biste aktivirali opciju interpretacije u Zoom traci sa alatkama u donjem dijelu ekrana, pronađite ikonicu interpretacija. Kliknite na datu ikonicu i odaberite opciju BH Local. Podrazumijevana opcija prevoda jeste da čujete 80% prevoda i 20% originalnog zvuka. Ukoliko u potpunosti želite da eliminišete originalni zvuk i čujete samo prevod, klikom na ikonicu interpretacija odaberite opciju Mute Original Audio. Dakle, zvuk na engleskom možete isključiti opcijom Mute Original Audio. Preporučeno je da koristite Zoom desktop aplikaciju. Tokom webinara vaši mikrofoni su prigušeni, a vaše pitanje u vezi sa aktualnim otvorenim pozivom za izražavanje zainteresovanosti na lokalnom ili engleskom jeziku možete postaviti putem Q&A opcije koja se nalazi u Zoom traci sa alatkama. Preporuka je da pitanja postavite nakon izlaganja panelista. Pitanja učesnika će biti odgovorena usmeno ili pismeno od strane panelista. Ukoliko u toku sesije odaberete opciju Raise Hand, daćete signal moderatoru da želite da postavite pitanje usmeno. Tada će vas moderator pozvati da se uključite u program uživo i postavite vaše pitanje. Prije uključivanja u program uživo, molimo vas da provjerite da li je audio sistem podešen tako da možete koristiti mikrofon na vašem uređaju. To možete uraditi klikom na strelicu pokraj ikonice mikrofona u lijevom donjem dijelu ekrana i izaberite opciju Test Speaker and Microphone. Tehničku podršku, kao i druge učesnike, možete kontaktirati odabirom opcije Chat, koja se također nalazi na Zoom traci sa alatkama. Putem ove opcije možete razmjenjivati komentare sa ostalim učesnicima. Prilikom korištenja iste možete komunicirati sa određenom osobom ili sa svim panelistima i učesnicima ukoliko odaberete To all panelists and attendees koja se nalazi u chat sobi. Hvala.
Sad ko je sve zapamtio, neka digne ruku. Šala mala. Dobro, nadam se da su vam ova uputstva bila korisna, da sada vidite koje su vam opcije za interakciju. Dakle, Kao što sam najavila, danas je fokus na aplikacionim dokumentima i kako ih popuniti. Mi smo održali već nacionalni launch event gde smo predstavili sam program, info sesije, dve, tokom kojih smo govorili o kriterijumima prihvatljivosti, kako su prihvatljivi konzorcijumi i tako dalje. A ideja sa ovim današnjim susretom jeste da pomognemo svima vama da možda razjasnite neke nedoumice oko toga kako popuniti online formular za podnošenje izjave o zainteresovanosti. Da podsjetim, prvi poziv za podnošenje izjave o zainteresovanosti je otvoren do 30. aprila. Izjave se podnose elektronski. Glavni instrument je naš grant management sistem, platforma za podnošenje prijava i upravljanje grantovima. Oni čije prijave budu pozitivno evaluirani će biti pozvani u takozvani drugi krug, gde će davati nešto detaljnije informacije o predlozima projekata. Samim tim to implicira da informacije koje se traže u ovom krugu s naše tačke gledišta nisu toliko detaljne, a eto da bismo bili sigurni da izbegavamo svaki vid nedoumice, moj kolega Pavel će uskoro predstaviti aplikacioni formular. On će govoriti na engleskom jeziku, tako da vas ja pozivam da aktivirate funkciju prevođenja ukoliko vam je potrebna. Kao što je rekla koleginica, imate u traci sa alatkama interpretation funkciju, kliknete je, odaberete BH lokal i kliknete i savjet je da kliknete ono mute original audio. Tako ćete čuti prevodioca koji je danas sa nama i na čemu mu se puno zahvaljujemo. Takođe vas pozivam da pitanja koja imate u vezi sa onim što ćete čuti od Pavola postavljate kada on bude, kako vidite nešto što vam nejasno ili čujete nešto za što vam treba dodatno pojašnjenje, ne ustručavajte se da potražite odgovor od nas ili kroz Q&A ili najjednostavnije ako kliknete ovu žutu ruku koja kaže raise hand i onda ćemo vam dati reč da pitanje usmeno i postavite. Ako imate pitanja koje nisu u vezi sa samom aplikacijom, možete naravno i njih da adresirate, samo za to bih vam preporučila da koristite Q&A polje, pa ću to onda ja kucati. Onda da ne dužimo više sa uvodom, prebacite se na BH lokal kanal ukoliko vam je potreban prevod, a Pavel, the floor is yours. You may start now with explaining the application form for expression of interest.
Thank you, Jelena. Good morning. Oh, sorry, we are today having an afternoon session, so I'm used to morning sessions. So good afternoon to everybody. Let me guide you through the application, the expression of interest today. And the first slide, which I would like to show you, is the initial screen, which you all experienced already while you were registering in the system. But I wanted to show this because in case we have some enterprises which participates today, then after they receive the invitation email from you, they will need to come to this page and complete the fields which are marked with the red asterisk. These are the marks which you will see throughout the whole application, and all these fields must be completed prior you will be able to submit your application. So after you register in the system, you are able to log in, and here on the left-hand side, you see a little dashboard where you have my applications under which you can start your application, and afterwards when you return, you can resume and work on your application. After you start or resume the work on your application, you will get to the summary page, and the summary page shows you at the top of the page a guiding notes. This is the case for every page in the system. So every time you see some text which gives you a guidance or instructions how to go on, how to complete the fields. At the same time, here at the top, you see the reference number of the application by which you will be registered in the system, and by which also the independent evaluators will be evaluating about your application. So in the bottom part, you will see a little table where you see 9 sections of the application. And here I want to say that you can work on any section at any time. So it means you don't need to complete section number 1 and only then you would be allowed to move to the next section. No, you can work on any section. You have the information available. You can also work on any section and complete just part of it in case you don't have the full information available. So you can save the information in progress and then return to the section to complete it in full. The status of the completion will be shown here. So in case you have not started yet, it will be not started. In case you are partially through, it will be shown in progress. And in case you would complete the section, then you will see the button complete in green box. Here, I would still like to put your attention on these 2 buttons at the top of this table, where you see application and participants. And in case you click on participants, you will get another screen at the bottom of this summary page, and that is the information about how to invite the enterprises to participate on your application. So again, here is the information and guidance for the applicant, and in the bottom part you will see a little table where you can invite the enterprise. So if you click on invite button, you will open up a little screen which will contain the name, first name, last name, and email information about your partner enterprise, and you are here allowed to formulate your personal message to the partner enterprise. And when you click the send invitation, they will receive email from you to the email address which you specified with your personal message, plus there will be additional information how to proceed to register in the system and join your application. Once the information about the enterprises will be completed, then you will see in this part this green button with complete. When the enterprises get access, register in the system as I shown on the first slide, then they will get access to your application, and they will see in a summary page this table with the different sections a little bit differently than the lead applicant would see, than the VTI would see. And namely, it is the sections 3 and 4 are the only sections they will be able to edit the information. All the other sections, as you see, they are able only to view the information. So they cannot change by accident any information here in your application. Nevertheless, we would still like and recommend also in our guidance notes that it is leading applicant, it is VTI who is going to complete the whole sections, including the information about the enterprises. And only at the moment when everything is in the system, they will invite the enterprise, the partnering enterprises, to review the information which are inserted in the system and confirm their participation. This is to make sure that they will not somehow edit or change the information by accident in a way which is not desirable. This was about the summary page. If you have any questions here about the summary page, please raise your hands. Jelena will then let you speak up and we can discuss any questions you have here.
Jeste, evo čuli ste sada kako izgleda ta sumarna stranica i nešto uvodnih napomena o saradnji. Kao što vidite na ovoj platformi sarađuje obrazovna ustanova koja je glavni podnosilac projekta, to je ovo VTI, Vocational Training Institute, sarađuje sa partnerima, preduzećima koje su vam partneri i poziva ih da i oni pregledaju ili dodaju neke informacije. Ne vidim za sada podignute ruke ili pitanja, ovo je svakako samo uvod, pa idemo dalje. Let's move on, Pavel, and we will see if there are further questions.
Okay, so let's move to section 1, which is about the eligibility criteria. So here in these sections, we have series of questions to determine whether you are eligible, whether you fulfill all the eligibility criteria. And here I would like to stop and show you the example that in case you would respond in a way that you would not be compliant with any of the conditions, any of the criteria, the system would give you automated message that until you answer differently, in this case, that you are not eligible to submit the application to RCF. This is very similar also for the other sections you will be completed in case you would miss to complete any field, any box which is marked with the rest asterisk, which means it's a mandatory field. Then the system will give you automated message that you missed to complete the field and you will be not able to submit your application until you will finalize the particular field. Do you have any questions regarding eligibility criteria?
Da li ima nekih pitanja vezano za ovaj deo? Ja sam baš jutros odgovorila, mislim, na pitanje o tome da li baš svi kriterijumi moraju biti ispunjeni i odgovor je da baš svi moraju biti. Oni su dostupni unutar samog formulara i možete ih iskinuti sa našeg web sajta, prevedeni su i na lokalni jezik, tako da se možete tu detaljnije upoznati. A ako treba pojašnjenje nekog od njih, radili smo na tome i tokom info sesija, možete nam se svakako nakratno i javiti, pošto vidim da sada ovdje nema pitanja. Let's move on.
Okay, let's then move to section 2. And here I would like to stop at the top part and talk about the top part of each page where you see the status of the completion of your application. Then you will see also a couple of buttons which enables you to move backwards, so to the previous page, previous section, or to the next page, next section. You can also return to the summary page, which I explained to you about, where you see the status of all sections. And you can also save the progress, because as I mentioned, you don't need to complete the section fully, but the system will warn you afterwards you would like to leave the section, that you still need to complete the sections before you will be able to submit the application. Here at the top part of the page, you will see lead applicant contact details, which are marked with asterisk. So you will need to click on edit and check if all the information are already here. What I would like to highlight here, there is a last field which says please insert country. In this case, it is selected already Bosnia and Herzegovina, but please pay attention and select your country. Unfortunately, the system does not mark this field with the red asterisk, so the system will not recognize in case you would not insert the country name. Therefore, please pay attention and make sure you select the country, because even now we see in the system number of applications which are work in progress, but they for some reason didn't enter the country name. Next to the contact information of VTI, we are also asking some main characteristics about VTI, namely type of VTI, ownership of the VTI, specialization of the VTI. These are all information which we would like you to select from the drop-down menu, which is defined in the system. And just in case within the specialization of VTI you don't find your specialization, please try to select the one which is the most closest one to your specialization, and then in the short profile of VTI you can further explain about your specialization. Then we are asking here about the numbers of students, so current number of students and number of students enrolled in past 3 years, and that's for the whole institute, school, etc. Depending on type of VTI. Then a short profile of VTI. Here we expect short overview of your school or vocational training institute activities, educational profiles, sectors, occupations, the organization and experience with the academic training programs which you carry on. Then additional point is the grants and other aids received in past 3 years. So here again, very briefly, we want just to let us know if you have any experience with the grants or aids. And here we expect just very brief information about the approved amount in the past you have been granted, received, then about the main purpose of the funding and utilization, whether you have fully utilized the grant or aid you received in the past. Then additional information here is experience from the cooperation with enterprises. So we would like you to list all relevant enterprise partners you have already cooperation. In case you had already cooperation until now, then we would like you to mention those here. And obviously, if you can make any conclusions, how this cooperation went so far. And the last item in this section is liability towards credit bureau, tax and employment authorities. Here, I would like to emphasize that this question is not about your regular duties which you have, but about the overdue payments. Means all the payments or your duties which are delayed, which are behind, the schedule, and which usually are registered in certain registers, whether it's credit bureau register, which might be all kinds of private, public, etc. registers, where you can find out that you have these unpaid liabilities, unpaid duties. And obviously, if you have any, sometimes it might happen, there are some which can be explained, then we would like you, there is a comment box there to explain what do they originate from and how you are going to settle them. This is section 2. If you have any questions here, I would pause now and let you, give you an opportunity that you ask the questions.
Evo, kao što ste čuli, u sekciji 2 unosite osnovne podatke o obrazovnoj ustanovi koja je negde vodeći partner u konzorcijumu i vi, nadam se da ste iz ove prezentacije, a i gledajući sam formular online ili onu verziju koju možete da preuzmete sa našeg sajta, videli o kojim se tu pitanjima radi često je pitanje ima jedno pitanje koje kaže broj učenika ili broj studenata ili broj polaznika, zavisi od vrste, i to često pojasnimo da se odnosi na sve studente, sve učenike. Ima jedno pitanje koje se odnosi na sve, pa onda jedno koje se odnosi na one upisane u prethodne 3 godine. Da li imate možda ovde neku nejasnoću kada navodite podatke o vašoj ustanovi? Šta da stavite? Ne vidim ni jednu podignutu ruku, tako da rekla bih da možemo dalje. Let's move on.
Okay, thank you, Elena. Just one additional information here in this table. You see the lead applicant information, but once you invite the partner enterprises and they accept your invitation, then you will see also that this table will get expanded with the information about the enterprises. Okay, let's move to section number 3, which is the information on vet consortium enterprises. Again, some instructions here at the top, and then below you find fields for basic contact details and then main characteristics. So similarly as with VTI, and here again you have some fields to be selected from drop-down menu like legal form and economic sector, and then also activity, which is just one-liner field where we do not expect you write a lot, just type of activity you carry on in your entrepreneurial activities. Then we would like you to indicate the size of the enterprise, small, medium, or large. Then the numbers, total staff number, managerial staff number, and technical staff number. So technical staff number is the difference between the total and managerial. It's basically all the working people, working staff, support staff, everybody who is employed by the company. Then certificates and qualifications. Here we would like to hear from you about any awarded certificates or qualifications for the enterprise or for your staff, like for example international quality standard certificates or training licenses for your in-company trainers. Then in short profile we would like to have short overview of your business activities, your position on market, available resources, what are your training needs, cooperation with VTI, and planned contribution to the consortium. And liability towards credit bureau, tax, and employment authorities. Again, exactly the same what I explained with VTIs. So only overdue payments. So not the regular duties which you have. And the last item here is end-year results in the year preceding submission. We understand that the last year has been difficult, especially for some enterprises due to COVID situation, but we would need you to explain in the notes in case you achieve loss that the previous years, previous periods before COVID indicated either solid results or positive trends in your results to give us indication that such an enterprise is able to continue and sustain the future activities and participates on the project for a couple of next years. Here we have fields for 3 enterprises, but only 2 are mandatory, as our eligibility criteria is that minimum 2 enterprises are participating in the project. To finalize this section 3, I just wanted to let you know now, because this is section related to participating enterprises on the project, that once they are invited and all the information are reviewed by the enterprises, here in this instruction, in this guiding notes text, you will see they need to read and agree with the following declaration. basically confirming about the type of information mentioned in this form, that it's indeed true, complete, and accurate. And once they are ready to confirm their participation, they will need to click on this button, Finish Contribution. When all the enterprises which you invite will click on Finish Contribution button, in that moment, the VTI, the leading applicant, will be able to submit the application. Before that happens, the application won't be able to be submitted by the applicant. Any questions regarding the information which are included in section 3?
I see there is one hand raised. Vidim da je jedna podignuta ruka. Gospodin Zoran Vuković se javio za reč, pa ćemo ga sada uključiti da vidimo sa kojim se nedoumicama gospodin Vuković suočava. Izvolite. Gospodine Vukoviću, ja sam vas sada uključila. Samo vas molim da uključite svoj mikrofon. Kliknite na mikrofon da biste ga uključili i da bismo mogli da čujemo vaše pitanje.
Can you hear me?
Da, čujemo vas, izvolite.
Okay. Do I speak in English or in local
Kako vam je lakše?
language? Da vas pozdravim, da vam se zahvalim na učešću na ovom webinaru. Malo je nezgodan termin, pa malo sam u pokretu, ali evo sve pratim. Moje pitanje je vezano, mislim ima više pitanja, evo i malo pre sam htio da se javim, pošto smo mi privatna ustanova za stručno obrazovanje odraslih 𝗵𝗶𝗹 Banja Luka, mi nemamo kao standardna škola ili kao standardni fakultet, da kažem, redovne studente, nego imamo po prijavama i u koji su u toku procesu obuka i oni koji su već, recimo, prethodnih godina bili i tako dalje, pa možda da se u jednom momentu vratimo na to pitanje kasnije, vezano za prethodnu sesiju. A ono što je moje pitanje ovde, vezano za preduzeća, je da li, pošto su minimalno 2 preduzeća, da li ta preduzeća moraju obavezno i da imaju onu opciju kasnije zapošljavanja, da kažem, još nekih stvari vezano za, da kažem, rezultate, ili ta preduzeća mogu biti partnerska, pošto mi radimo sa dosta partnerskih preduzeća koja s nama zajedno obučavaju ljude u praksi, u praktičnom dijelu, ili su to samo naši partneri kod kojih će se držati dio praktičnog dijela obuke. To je jedno pitanje. I drugo pitanje je, pošto naš konzorcij, mislim da sam vama i pisao, naš konzorcij bi praktično obuhvatao 3 sektora i da kažem, pošto tamo piše koji je donji minimum, a ne piše koji je maksimum, naša ideja je da iz 3 sektora drvo, metal i IT, gdje mi djelujemo najviše i koji su deficitarna zanimanja u Bosni i Hercegovini, da angažujemo po 2 preduzeća koji su nam tu partneri, ali isto tako i po jednu instituciju, znači u drvoprerađivačkom sektoru Šumarski fakultet Banja Luka, u IT sektoru 2 univerziteta, elektrotehnička, i u ovome metalskom dijelu jednu srednju školu iz Teslića. Plus klastere koji iza sebe imaju u prosjeku između 50 i 150 preduzeća, znači zavisno od sektora. Da li je to prihvatljiv konzorcij?
Aha, dobro, hvala vam gospodine Vukoviću na uključenju i na ovim postavljenim pitanjima. Verujem da će biti možda korisno i za druge učesnike da razjasnimo. Ovo sad samo pokušavam da se setim šta je bilo prvo, šta je bilo drugo pitanje. Obično ovako zastanemo.
Ajde, ponovit ću. Znači, prvo je bilo, pošto smo mi privatna ustanova, nemamo regularne studente koji su tipa upisuju se u septembru, nego se upisuju bukvalno svakih par meseci kako ima potrebe, kako se prijavljaju. Znači, taj dio mi možemo ispuniti koliko imamo na nivou godine i koliko imamo trenutno, ali kao škola nemamo tipa 500 učenika, nego imamo možda 3 grupe po, ne znam, 20 ljudi, otprilike. To je ono što možemo tu upisati, a drugo pitanje je bilo...
Čekajte, stanite da ne zaboravimo opet.
Može.
Da odgovorimo na prvo. Dakle, nije problem, prihvatljive su obrazovne organizacije koje se bave i pružanjem kraćih kurseva. Mislim da imamo čak i polja unutar prijavnog formulara, sad će nam Pavel oko toga pomoći, short term courses, i da u slučaju da realizujete te kraće kurseve možete dati objašnjenje koliko ti kursevi traju u mesecima, koliko takvih kurseva ponovite u toku godine, koji je trend bio ranijih godina, koliko ste upisivali i da date neku prognozu koja se tiče sprovođenja kurseva tokom trajanja projekta. Pavel, is there anything else you would like to add on the number of students or explanations regarding short-term courses and what they have to have in mind here?
Yeah, I mean, we are going to the section 5 where we are going to talk about the training program, which is going to be subject of the application. And there I will touch base also let's say the particular fields for short-term and long-term courses. So I wouldn't like now to, go and start to explain. Yeah. So I mean, he will hear the answer to his question in that particular section.
Thank you. Dakle, čuli ste u sekciji 5, pričat ćemo više o tome, a sad što ste postavili pitanje vezano za sastav konzorcijuma, to sam zapamtila. Ja se sećam da smo e-mailom to razmenili i da sam ja i tu napisala, ali evo da ponovim i za sve druge. Možete u okviru aplikacije kombinovati obrazovne programe iz različitih, da kažem, struka, oblasti ili različitih zanimanja. Naša preporuka je da to budu srodni programi, srodni po delatnosti i da se u okviru aplikacije zahteva ista oprema. Dakle, da projekat može biti jedna koherentna celina. Evo kako je Pavel naveo, mogu se navesti podaci za jednu vodeću obrazovnu ustanovu, jednu partnersku obrazovnu ustanovu i do 10 preduzeća. 2 je minimum, maksimum je 10. Samo se na vama je da procenite koliko je to lako koordinirati i ispakovati u jedan predlog projekta. Obrazovne ustanove mogu da se jave jednim projektom po pozivu, ali se mogu javiti više puta za više različitih programa na više različitih poziva. Naš sledeći poziv očekujemo krajem ove godine, tako da ako imate raznorodne profile i raznorodne partnere i raznorodnu opremu, onda bi bio savjet da razmislite i o možda 2 različite predloga projekta, a ako je sve to slično i može se podvesti pod jednu kapu, onda može biti predmet istog predloga projekta. Evo, ostavljam, here I leave the floor for my colleagues if they want to add something based on the questions. No, Frieder says no, Pavel says no. Ok, gospodine Vukoviću, nadam se da smo vam odgovorili.
Ovo pitanje je samo vezano za preduzeća, možda se nismo razumjeli, ovo dvoje ste odgovorili, ali vezano za preduzeća. Da li partnerska preduzeća koja učestvuju s nama u obukama, da li oni moraju kasnije u rezultatima zapošljavati ljude ili to mogu biti neka druga preduzeća? Zato što mi ovaj posao radimo 15 godina.
Dobro.
Radimo sa 54
Razumela sam.
Tako da treba nam ta informacija.
Znate kako, ideja jeste da se partnerstvo realizuje sa onim preduzećima sa kojima obrazovna ustanova inače tesno sarađuje i u kojima se sprovodi taj deo praktične obuke unutar kompanija. I nekako se pitanje, uglavnom to pitanje da li se predviđa zapošljavanje, primarno se, koliko sam ja razumela formular, odnosi na preduzeća partnere, ali verujem da je samo dodatni plus ukoliko vi možete navesti da su i neka druga preduzeća zainteresovana da kasnije zaposle taj kadar. Anything my colleagues would like to add on this? No? Ok. Eto, dakle, nadam se da smo odgovorili. Hvala vama. Idemo sada da proverim, nemamo drugih podignutih ruku vezano za ovu sekciju 3. Predlažem da nastavimo. Pavel, you may continue with section 4.
All right, so then we move to section 4, which is very simple because it contains only one question. And here, in case there are more than 3 enterprises participating on the project in the consortium, then you are here asked to respond whether there are more. In case they are, then if you click on yes, it opens fields for enterprises number 4 to 10, and it has completely the same fields which you saw for enterprises number 1 to number 3, which needs to be completed, and the process of invitation for these enterprises must be followed. And once all the information are complete and they review the information, that they also need to confirm their participation by clicking on this Finish Contribution button. Section 5, that's a section about the cooperative training program, which is subject of the application. And here we have a couple of questions and statements which we are asking from you about the training program itself, which is subject of the application, whether it's a new or existing. We received a couple of questions also related to this new or planned training program. Here we accept those as well, but we need to see that such a program is close to receiving the approval, the certificate or accreditation. And for us, we are setting up a period of 6 months from the full application approval. So that's in the second stage, after expression of interest, all those proposals which will be eligible will be invited to complete the full proposal. And after the full proposal is approved, you would still have 6 months from the approval to declare the certificate or accreditation of the training program before you will be able to receive grant funding. But in case you already foresee that this process is going to be delayed, we would encourage you to work on this and apply in the next call, in the next round, which, as Jelena mentioned, is going to be announced towards the end of the year. So if there are more training programs which are somehow coherent, interrelated, and utilize the same premises, capacities, tools, equipment, technologies, then you might combine, but we would like to mention about that here, because here the field says only about one training program. So if there are more, please share the titles and the information about them in the additional boxes space which is available there. So the same goes for the certificate or accreditation. In case there are few training programs, please mention those here as well. And then about the sector and type of training program. So here we come to the questions from Mr. Vukovic, that here we are considering also short-term training programs which are lasting less than 12 months. And these are usually the requalification training programs or adult education, adult learning, continuing education. And they usually last indeed less than 12 months. On the long term, these are more typical educational profiles at the school level, vocational, high school, academies, or universities. Then we continue here with the questions where we are asking about duration. So in case it's a short-term program in months, in a long term on academic years. Then we are asking about the training places which you are creating for the trainees in the first and second year. Obviously, for the short-term program, second year is not applicable, so we are talking about the first year when you are working with the trainees on short-term courses. For the short-term courses, we do insert it here, field to state how often do you repeat them. So how many repeated courses do you foresee? Then the start date, which might be for the existing program, the clear date, but for the new one, this will be expected date. Learning places offered by enterprises. Here we open the fields for 3 enterprises, and here we would like from you to hear how many trainees the enterprises are going to be handled. And in case you have more than 3 enterprises, then we would like to mention in the last field, in additional comments, the comments about the additional enterprises and their ability to create learning places for the trainees. Trainees employed. Here we are talking about the anticipated or expected number of trainees which could be employed after completion of the cooperative training program by participating enterprises, but it's not precondition. So in case there are not conditions which would allow you to employ for whatever reason, then obviously we are not going to insist, but we would like to see if the enterprises are prepared to employ any trainees which would fit their terms, their expectations, their demands. Then additional item here is previous experience with cooperative training. So for each member of the WET consortium, we would like to ask you if you have any specific experience about the cooperative training as such. Then in rationale of cooperation, we would like to list you at least 3 benefits which you see from the cooperation between the VTI and enterprises. And the last item here is resilience to situations like COVID-19. So here we would like to hear if the training program which you are coming up with for the application is able to improve the situation with the resilience of vocational training institute or enterprises activities. Any questions here regarding section 5?
Well, there was one question about accreditation. I'm not sure if that was in the section. Yeah, it was in section 5. Say about the date. A date provide a date the certification accreditation is valid from. So just to clarify, that means to enter the date when the certificate or accreditation became valid. So not the day when it was issued, right?
Yeah, I mean, basically the question is whether the training program which the applicant is applying for grant funding is available, is issued or not. So we are not asking specifically here about the date as such. That comes in the second stage when we will be, considering the full application. But in this case, we just want to hear whether there is or there is not such a certificate or accreditation for the program. Of course, if in comments anybody is going to mention, that's fine, but we are not literally asking for that particular date.
Ok, onda u tom slučaju možda da nam gospođa Selimović pojasni u kojoj sekciji je tačno ovo pitanje, ali u svakom slučaju ovako kako ste naveli, the date certification accreditation is valid from, znači datum od kada je počela da važi, ne kada prestaje da važi. Ok, da li ima još nekih pitanja vezano za sekciju 5? Nema. Dobro. Aha, Vidim, gospodin Vuković diže ruku, spušta ruku. Ne znam da li je to slučajno ili nije. Ajde da proverimo. Gospodine Vuković, jeste hteli nešto da nas pitate u vezi sekcije 5?
Jesam, poštovanje još jednom, jel me čujete?
Čujemo vas.
Nisam spuštao dizao ruku, nego ne reaguje dugme, pa sam ono 2 puta pritisnuo, zato je možda kod vas tako reaguje, možda kasnije malo veza.
Vidimo, samo ne prekidamo kolegu, nego kada on napravi pauzu, onda...
Nije nikakav problem, pošto kažem, da kažem, aplikacija je stvarno sjajna, ali ono što sam vas isto pitao mailom, onda kad smo pričali, 2 stvari nama nisu nikako jasne. Ako trebamo biti inovativni i ako radimo po zahtjevu tržišta za nove programe, kako oni mogu biti akreditovani uopšte u procesu akreditacije kad ih tek pravimo i oni su totalno novi? To je jedno pitanje. I drugo pitanje je, mi smo ustanova stručno obrazovani odrasli koja je registrovana, imamo one DN obrazovanje odraslih i znači sve što treba, znači, ali pošto smo privatna ustanova, mi nemamo klasične akreditacije kao, da kažem, škole i fakulteti za neke nastavne programe. Mi radimo neformalne obuke, ali pošto smo mi pisali po DAKU metodologiji nastavne planove i programe koje ćemo također uključiti, koji postoje i koji su usvojeni u zakonu obrazovne odrasle Republike Srpske u službenom glasniku, a kasnije u kantonima, onda malo ispadne nelogično. Mi smo pisali programe koji sad koriste sve škole, na primjer CNC operater za drvo, na primjer, a mi ga ne možemo koristiti zato što mi nemamo posebno odobrenje i datum taj koji govorite od kad to važi. A druga stvar je ako pravimo e-akademiju, sasvim novu vrstu edukacije koja je s istom opremom na isti način, online se radi u 3 sektora, to uopšte nije ni u kakvoj nomenklaturi, kako može biti odobreno, to mi nije jasno nikako. Očekujem da budemo inovativni, razumijete? A kako ćemo biti inovativni ako radimo nešto što već radimo 10 godina? Onda nismo inovativni, samo ponavljamo obuke koje smo do sad radili, 3-mjesečne, i onda idemo stolar, tapetar, lakir, CNC operator, i to je to, ali to nije ništa inovativno, barem mi ne, razumijete, to je deficitarna zanimanje koje mi radimo već 10 godina.
Razumeli smo vaše pitanja. Ako mogu da parafraziram, prvo se odnosi na koncept inovativnosti, šta se tačno podrazumeva pod inovativnošću kada kažemo, i drugo pitanje se odnosi na akreditaciju programa neformalnog obrazovanja. Eto, jel sam dobro razumela?
Pa dobro, manje više tako da.
Da, ako mogu da sumiram. Ok. Sad ćemo probati da odgovorimo na vaše pitanja. Kao što se vidi iz prijavljenog formulara, iz kriterijuma, inovativnost se zaista očekuje. Sada inovativnost može podrazumevati različite stvari i svakako treba da se negde posmatra zajedno sa uslovom da se sprovode programi koji su akreditovani ili u procesu akreditacije, zato što je važno da budu prepoznati od strane javnih, odnosno od strane tržišta i od strane nadležnih ustanova, kako bi se mogao garantovati kvalitet i negde zapošljivost i sticanje formalnih kvalifikacija. A što se tiče načina na koji se može demonstrirati inovativnost, dakle ono što je pre svega nama važno jeste da se ne podržava status quo, ovo što ste rekli, sprovodimo programe onako kako su inače bili sprovedeni, već ukoliko se ulažu investicije u neku opremu, i to poprilične investicije od 150 do 600.000 eura, da se te investicije odraze i na unapređen kvalitet programa. Inovativnost može biti digitalizacija, može biti osavremenjivanje nekim novim veštinama, naravno onoliko koliko odobreni ili kurikulumi u fazi akreditacije ili odobrenja dozvoljavaju. Evo, ja sam počela odgovor na ovo pitanje. Evo, samo bih dala reči kolegama, možda oni žele da me dopune, pa ćemo vas onda svakako pustiti i da nam kratko postavite pod pitanje pre nego što se vratimo. Pavel, Frieder, if you want to add something on this question, feel free. Otherwise, we see feedback from Mr. Vuković and move on.
No, nothing to add.
Ok, hvala. Da, vi ste, pomenuli ste različite vidove akreditacije. Naravno, svaki aplikant podnosi one akreditacije koje ima. Jedno su očekivanja od škole u skladu sa teritorijom odakle dolazi, da li je to kanton, entitet, distrikt. Dakle, mi u formularu nismo predefinisali koje su to akreditacije, već u skladu sa vašom formom, sa načinom gde ste registrovani, ko je izdao akreditaciju.
Ja vam upravo to i govorim, jel mogu se nadovezati?
Ajte, molim vas samo kratko, pošto bismo da nastavimo i da čujemo i
Ma
druge
razumijem, ali
učesnike.
evo, ako session služi da postavljamo pitanja koje želimo aplicirati, neke stvari, kažem, su nelogične, zato što u BiH većina institucija ima samo nekoliko programa koji su prihvaćeni kao u Zavodu za obrazovanje odraslih i tako dalje. Znači, evo daću vam primjer. U IT sektoru, BIT Alijansa, koja je naš partner u IT sektoru, za ovu aplikaciju želimo zajedno da apliciramo, je zajedno sa UNDP-em napravila dvogodišnje istraživanje šta je potrebno u tržištu IT-a, IT industrije u Bosni i Hercegovini. To nema nikakve veze sa bilo kakvim ministarstvom, nije niko odobrio ništa, a tamo su preko 150 IT kompanija rekla da zaposli preko 400 ljudi u tim zanimanjima. Kako sada, vi stalno pričate o akreditaciji. Mislim, ajte ponovit ću, nije nikakav problem, ali pokušavam reći da tržište traži jedno, a ministarstva odobravaju, znači imate odobreni 10-ak programa i on se koriste. Svi novi programi nisu uopšte ušli ni u kakve nomenklature i nema zašto sam vas kontaktirao preko Vanjsko-trgovinske komore.
Dobro, gospodine Vukoviću, samo da se razumemo, akreditacije mogu da se podnesu i ne moraju. Evo, možda da odslušate do kraja našu sesiju. Gospodin Pavol će uskoro pokazati deo u koji se odnosi na upload, odnosno na prilaganje, i vidjet ćete da je obavezno priložiti dozvolu za rad ili licence, a da se sami dokumenti akreditacije ne moraju nužno uploadovati iz raznih razloga i onda se može u polje za komentare objasniti. Ali eto da ja sada ne trčim pred rudu, poslušat ćemo i kolegu 𝗪𝗪𝗏 na tu temu i svakako kriterijumi prihvatljivosti su takvi kakvi jesu i ne možemo tu mnogo da promenimo, ali svakako verujemo da postoji polje za inovacije u kurikulumi, odnosno za inovacije u načinima sprovođenja i tehnološke inovacije, usklađivanje sa tržištom i u okvirima koji su postavljeni našim kriterijumima prihvatljivosti. Samo da proverim, bilo je još jedno pitanje. Da li postoji minimum donji prag praktične nastave koji se izvodi izvan obrazovne institucije? Pitamo jer imamo trogodišnja i četvorogodišnja usmjerenja u procesu dualnog obrazovanja. Da li postoji minimum praktične nastave koji se izvodi izvan obrazovne institucije? Ovdje se vjerovatno misli na procenat praktične nastave koji se odvija unutar kompanija. Koliko je meni poznato, nije definisana minimum, ali je definisano nešto što je poželjno, a to je da bi bilo poželjno da ukoliko je sada taj procenat manji od 25, da se poželjno je jako da se, eto to je ta jedna inovativnost, da se tokom sprovođenja obrazovnih programa po dualnom ili kooperativnom, zavisi od legislative i regulacije, da se taj udeo praktične nastave u kompaniji poveća kao rezultat ulaganja od strane regionalnog challenge fonda, tako da donji prag nismo, čini mi se, postavili, evo nek me kolege isprave ako sam propustila, ali negde nešto što je ide, što bi bilo dobro, ako je manje od 25%, da se podigne na 25%, a svakako i sve preko toga je više nego dobrodošlo. Važno je, kažem, da se vidi tu neka promena na bolje. Pavel, would you like to add something or you want to continue? No? Okay, let's continue.
All right, so then we move to section 6, which is about the current status of the cooperative training capacities on the side of VTI and enterprises. Here you will see that we are asking about the Vocational Training Institute Cooperative Training Coordinator information, then about their premises or facilities, availability, equipment, tools, machinery availability, teaching materials availability, teachers' needs, training, and then about the support to operational maintenance budget by authorities in case it's a public institute. And then we are also giving space for additional comments. Here you basically indicate already your needs, because we expect that if you don't have proper facilities or tools, machinery available, you will indicate that here already, and then it will be reflected in the funding needs. For the enterprise, we are expecting here to enter cooperative training coordinator and in-company trainers or instructors. In smaller enterprises, this might be often the same person. Here again, we have fields for 3 enterprises. So please, put anything which you can't enter here in the comments box. Any questions for this section?
No, I can't see any.
Okay. So let's move on. Section 7, this is subject of the grant financing. So here at the beginning, we would like to describe your project funding needs, then select the country where the training program is going to take place. Identify local currency, because later on here we have the euro amounts and local currency amounts which you might enter. So for the project funding summary, we would like you to enter demands for rehabilitation, reconstruction, or extension, the premises where the training program is taking place. Then equipment, tools, and machinery, whether you are procuring new or used one or upgrading the existing one. Then teaching materials, preparation of new one or upgrade of existing one. Then the cooperative training coordinators, teachers, in-company trainers training. So here, information about the needs to train further this group of people. And then anything else which comes up at the top of what is mentioned in above categories. As you would see with the red mark, with red asterisk, only euro amounts are mandatory. The local currency amounts are just, for your better recalculation, especially if initially you want to enter the local currency and then recalculate to euro. And at the bottom part of this section, you will find information where you need to indicate your matching contribution. So at least of 10% of total requested grant amount needs to be provided by that consortium partners. And this could be provided either financially or in kind. And here there is a space to explain about those. Then we have external partner contribution field, which you might indicate if the budget of the project requires additional co-financing. Then we would like you to explain here about the external partner participation, and that could be again in financial means or in kind. And the total grant requested is basically the box which is going to automatically calculate from the euro amounts which you enter above. The same goes for the local currency if it's entered. Regarding the matching contribution, on our website and the application package, you will find the guidelines, what could be part of the in-kind and financial matching contribution. Any questions here? Just to say that Frieder will further explore, inform you about the different funding categories in his presentation. So here indeed you are entering only the best estimate for the funding. This figure which is going to be stated here might not be the final one, but the best estimate, best guess. you can provide at this stage of the proposal.
Ja vidim da je gospodin Nijaz Halilović podigao ruku. Izvolite. Gospodine Haliloviću, možete da uključite mikrofon i da nam postavite pitanje.
Lijep pozdrav svim učesnicima.
Hvala, dobar dan.
Ja želim da upitam da li član konzorcija koji učestvuje sa 10% u financijskom smislu, da li to može biti financijska sredstva ili u obliku donacije? Donacija određenog materijalno-tehničkog sredstva, mašine i tako dalje.
Hvala. Čuli smo pitanje, da li mogu biti donacije? Frieder, uključili ste mikrofon, izvolite.
Yes, it's a bit anticipating my presentation. So if the machinery comes from one of the partners in the consortium, it can be included as a matching contribution. That's true. If it's a donation from a third party, it is considered co-financing, can be part of the project, but would not be considered matching contribution.
Eto, čuli ste odgovor. Dakle, ukoliko donacija dolazi od vašeg partnera iz konzorcijuma i tiče se samog programa kooperativnog obrazovanja, može se obračunati kao finansijsko učešće. Hvala. Je li to bilo sve? Pretpostavljam. Ne čujemo vas sada, gospodine Haliloviću, ali ako budete imali još pitanja, slobodno nam pišite.
Dobro, hvala.
Čuli smo vas. Ok, hvala, prijatno. Da vidim da li ima još novih ruku. Ne. No further questions at this moment, so I suggest we conclude with supporting documentation.
All right, so in this section 8, we are asking you to upload a few documents. Memorandum of Understanding, the template is located on our website on the application package. So you need to complete that template with the information about VTI and enterprises and very brief information about the project you want to focus on. And after it is signed and scanned, we would like you to upload it here. Also enter the date of Memorandum of Understanding signing. Then the licenses for the Vocational Training Institute issued by the relevant educational authority, body, or registration, simple registration in according to local legislation. Then accreditation document. So we discussed that not in all, because the project covers 6 economies. So not everywhere it is compulsory, mandatory to accredit the training program. So in case it is not accredited, please, we would like you to comment about that here, that you are not attaching it, you are not uploading it due to the specific reasons which we would like you to explain here. Then letter of support. So again, the template is available on our website under the application package. And here we would like to emphasize that the privately owned VTIs are obliged to upload the letters of support signed by the legal representative of VTI. And the last document is enterprise's business registration. So we would like to upload a copy of enterprise's business registration and also for privately owned VTIs due to their private business character. The last, what I want to say here is that you are uploading the local language document. So you don't need to translate anything here, just upload as they are. And for the Memorandum of Understanding, you will find out that the memorandum is made in a bilingual form, so in local language and English. Any questions regarding supporting documentation?
Yes, there is one question. Shall memorandum, do we accept signatures only, or we insist on having stamps as well? A gdje je pečat?
Well, we would be happy with the signatures, but it should be the legal representatives of the company. So we would have a look at the business registration probably and see where it's the right person. Stamp is also welcome, but not necessarily needed.
Eto, čuli ste, poželjno je da bude pečat, nije neophodno, ali je važno da memorandum o razumevanju bude potpisan od strane pravnih zastupnika. Da li ima još nekih pitanja vezano za dokumenta koja se prilažu? Mi smo ovih dana bili u kontaktu i sa nekima od potencijalnih aplikanata i sa određenim ministarstvima komunicirajući sadržaj pisma podrške. Negde su dogovori u toku, ali verujemo da će nadležna ministarstva za one javne ustanove, odnosno pravni zastupnici za privatne, potpisati pismo podrške. Pismo podrške se odnosi na podršku samom programu. Dakle, da program nastavlja da postoji i da će postojati kontinuitet u njegovom sprovođenju, barem što se tiče sadašnje odluke osnivača. Još neka pitanja? Evo vidimo ovde, ovo je ono što smo pomenuli, licence su neophodne, akreditacioni dokumenti su poželjni, koliko ih nema, to možete obrazložiti. Okay, I don't see any new hands raised, no questions we didn't answer. So I suggest we continue.
Okay, so the last section is the section where the leading applicant VTI is meeting the whole application, the RCF. And here you will find out a declaration by which the legal representative of the vet consortium confirms that all the information are indeed true, complete, and accurate. And you express your goodwill to participate in the application. So once all the information are completed in the field, as you will see here with the status complete, and all the partner enterprises click on button finish contribution, the leading applicant, the VTI, will be able to see the button submit application. And after clicking on it, you will submit the application to RCF. After you submit, you can still come back and log into the system, but you will be able only to view the application, not to modify it anymore. The same goes the deadline for this round, for this call, for the first call is 30th April. So anybody who will try to attempt to submit after 30th April, all these submissions will be rejected. And in case you have any questions regarding the applications, then you can always direct them to this particular email, which is mentioned several times also in the guiding notes, applications@rcf.ub6.org. That will be all from me. Thank you for your attention, and yeah, good luck with your applications.
Hvala Pavelu na ovom detaljnom objašnjenju aplikacije. Verujem da je sada jasnije šta gde upisati. A sada idemo brzo do gospodina Friedera Vermana, koji je team lider jedinice za upravljanje projektom i on će sada pojasniti neke aspekte obračuna budžeta projekta. Videli ste u Pavelovoj prezentaciji 𝗵𝗫, to je sve što se zahteva od vas u ovom trenutku, ali pošto imamo puno pitanja kako obračunati šta može, šta ne može da uđe u budžet, evo gospodin Verman je tu da nam pomogne sa razjašnjenjem. Frieder, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. I will share my screen. Good. So is it visible now? Good. Okay. Good. Then, yeah, 5 minutes on the budget template, as we get many questions in this regard. This budget template is as well available on the website. For the moment, I would like to repeat that it is not required for the expression of interest. All the information 𝗵𝗹𝗶 presented is sufficient right now. Nevertheless, we think it is useful to think of the project already, anticipating all the positions that will be required at some point in time. So the budget template has basically two parts. On the left side, we have the planning or the budgeting part, where we would like to have an overview of the different positions and how it is planned over a period of 3 years. And then on the right side, we have the sources of funding, where the consortia can indicate how a given position on this side can be financed or will be financed throughout the project. I will briefly go into a bit more detail and do this part by part. So this is now the budgeting planning side, which has 3 main parts. On the one at the beginning, we have the investments, that the machinery, equipment, construction of reconstruction of buildings, adaptations. So this is obviously the hardware, so to say. Then we have the investments and the activities related to the cooperative training programs and the development of it, the training of teachers, the training of in-company trainers, development of teaching material, and if necessary, certain advisory services. And as well, the salaries and the remuneration of teachers and trainers, as well as program coordinators for the cooperative training program. And then last but not least, an overview of the operating expenses. This includes operational health and security, transport, if applicable, insurance allowances for learners, utilities, and the maintenance of the purchased equipment. We have a first phase, which is the implementation phase of the project, and there obviously it is very likely to have all the investments in equipment and infrastructure covered there, and to a large extent the development of the training program. And then we would like to see estimations and forecasts for 3 years of running the program, and this will be obviously the salaries of the staff and as well the bulk of the operational expenses. Important to mention, maybe once again, the investments that need to take place at the VTI. So we expect that the investment takes place at the school in order to improve the possibility to deliver practical training there. Then on the right side, we have the funding sources. Again, here, all the different positions. So basically investments, training program activities, and as well operating costs can be financed under all funding resources. There are little exceptions. These are the gray areas here, and these are positions of the operating costs which are not eligible under the RCF funding. That is the salaries of the teachers and trainers, as well as the program coordinators. My screen got blocked. Okay, now it's unblocked. Again, I hope you didn't disturb you. So we have the salary expenses and as well as certain operating expenses here, which cannot be covered by the RCF. The matching contribution up to 10% of requested funding. This is important to mention. If there are significant elements of co-financing, then this would not be included in the calculation of the matching contribution. The matching contribution comes from the consortium partners, means the school and the partnering companies. And we expect that for most of the consortia, the matching contribution will come from contributing operating expenses. And then this sense can be or will be have to be calculated over a period of 3 years as well, as a certain person or a certain cost position contributes to the implementation of the course. Co-financing can come from external partners. It can be whatever ministries, municipalities, international donors, NGOs active in this area. So that is up to the consortium define it, and relatively free to structure this here accordingly. But I think I leave it here, Jelena, and maybe take some more questions in case there are, as time has almost run up. Thank you.
Hvala, Frieder. Evo, dakle, kao što smo više puta pomenuli, dali smo prikaz ovog fajla kao pomoćnog sredstva, može se preuzeti sa našeg sajta, može se preuzeti kao PDF, da, upravo ste, gospođa Selimović, namjerno smo stavili kao PDF da neko ne bi pomislio da je potrebno popuniti i predati u ovoj fazi. Tako da možete pratiti, možete kreirati svoj fajl na osnovu ovog priloženog. Ovo su dakle neke smernice kako da napravite procenu, okvirnu procenu sredstava koja su vam potrebna od strane RCF-a. Da vidim da li je bilo još neko pitanje. Da li pismo podrške za srednju školu mora biti od nadležnog ministarstva? Dakle, mi kažemo da je to relevant authority, dakle ona ustanova koja negde može da posvedoči da će se sama srednja škola finansirati i u periodu koji je predviđen za sprovođenje projekta i da će biti podržani oni troškovi koji se inače podržavaju, ništa dodatno, tako da u većini slučajeva to jeste Ministarstvo prosvete i po našim saznanjima to jesu Ministarstvo prosvete i u Bosni, ali dozvoljavamo da je negde drugačije uređeno. Da li ima još nekih pitanja? Pošto sam već popunio aplikaciju, može li se priložiti naknadno? Pa sad, s obzirom da je pismo podrške obavezno, ne verujem da ste mogli da podnesete a da nije bilo priloženo pismo podrške. Jedino ako ste podneli, a da je bilo potpisano od strane neke druge institucije, ali bilo je od opštine. Hajde da nam se možda javite mailom pa da probamo da proverimo, da sad ne bismo zadržavali, ili je li to u redu, Frieder, Pavel, da sada ne, morali bismo da otvorimo i da vidimo sistem, pa možda da sada ne gubimo vreme na to, nego da pogledamo i vašu aplikaciju i da proverimo da li može biti prihvatljivo. Svakako, evo savjeti za ostale, da proverite još jednom sve kriterijume i uputstva pre nego što kliknete ono dugme submit, jer kad kliknete submit onda nema posle prostora da se menja. Da li ima još nekih pitanja koja imate, a koje nismo pomenuli tokom prezentacije? Da, ja ne vidim. Ne vidim nova pitanja, a vreme nam i polako ne vidim ni nove ruke. Već smo uključili. Pavel, I see one new hand from Pavel.
Yeah, just one more addition to make sure that after the application is submitted, all the applicants who submit their application will receive acknowledgement email from the system. So you will be confirmed by the system that you submitted your application, and this application is going to be considered by RCF. And the next step, just that you also understand the following steps, after the deadline, all the submitted expression of interest will be evaluated by the independent evaluators, and those who will be approved, everybody is going to be informed about the results, but those who will be approved will be invited to continue in their application in the second phase with the full proposal. That will happen in the same system, very similarly what you have entered or what you are going to enter now, plus you will be requested additional information, more detailed information about the project proposal itself. Thank you, Jelena.
Thank you, Pavel, for this clarification. Hvala i na ovim pojašnjenjima. Dakle, čuli ste, ako budete imali nekih nedoumica vezano za to kako popuniti aplikaciju, možete pisati na applications@rcf-bb6.org. Ako bude bilo nedoumice vezano za same kriterijume prihvatljivosti, šta može, šta ne može, možete se javiti na info@rcf-bb6.org. Tu smo da vam pomognemo i odgovorimo. I dobit ćete follow-up mail nakon ove sesije gde ćete biti u mogućnosti da preslušate ponovo ovaj tutorial i da vidite još neke materijale koje smo danas koristili. Hvala vam na pažnji i srećno sa podnošenjem prijava. Hvala mojim kolegama, hvala prevodiocu, hvala tehničkoj podršci, hvala svima koji su slušali i postavljali pitanja. Ako nešto nismo stigli da odgovorimo danas, pišite nam na mail, pošto nam je sada vreme isteklo.